Welcome to Bikes, Beers and Banter. This is episode 2, and I'm joined today by Rich Gibson. So Rich is a keen motorcyclist. He's a club racer. He's ex-army and Yorkshireman, residing in Staffordshire. I guess that's the best way to describe you, I think. Is it, Rich?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Married a southerner, so when I left the army, it was a case of get the map out and then just find somewhere in between Yorkshire and down south. So Staffordshire, I've got 4 circuits within an hour of me, so it's a good place to live.
Oh, was that strategically then that you moved down there? And
No. It just turned out that way, and I wasn't complaining.
Yeah. And so I guess bikes, beers, and banter. So I see you've brought the bikes along.
Only 2 of them now. One of them's gone.
Yeah, I saw that. Been following your posts on socials, and let's get on to that in a minute. First things first. You got a beer?
I certainly have. I don't promote midweek drinking at all, but
no. We could say this is recorded at the weekend. Nobody would know.
Yeah, fuck it, be right.
Yeah, beers. Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
So you and I met each other at Silverstone, I believe. Beginning of the year, round 1.
Yeah, round 1 BSB. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you were there doing your bit for Mental Health Motorbikes. Mental Health Motorbikes. Yeah. So yeah, I know that you're an ambassador for Mental Health Motorbikes. We can come on to that in a bit as well. But tell us. So from 3 to 2 bikes. Tell us the story about the racing blade.
So my aspiration was I never intended to race the Fireblade. The blade that I had was actually my road bike. It was 2008, completely bog standard, only had 6,000 miles on the clock. But when I left the army, COVID happened. So my exit got punted to the right, as it were. So because I was relying on my pension payout to help me get started in racing, I was left in a quandary of waiting for the Ministry of Defence to sort things out. And for anybody watching this that's been in the Ministry of Defence, they'll know that they don't sort things fast. I decided over the winter to convert my road bike. I chucked quite a substantial amount of money at it. With the help of Paul Curran at PCR Performance, he built an absolute beast of a bike. It's, in stock form, it was 152 brake horsepower on their dyno. And by the time he'd finished with it, it came off at 178. So big gains.
Yeah.
But it was still underpowered compared to what I was racing in. It was fine in my first season as a rookie. I got some good results. But then this year, going into Sportsman Elite class with Thundersport, my lap times I thought were pretty quick. I was found wanting big time.
I hear Thundersport is pretty competitive.
Oh, it's rapid. Absolutely rapid. So I was chucking out 135s, 136s around Cadwell Park. 5 years ago, that would have been good enough for a class win at clubman level. I was coming at the back end, seconds, like where I missed out on a national signature by 0.046 mile an hour. Somebody might as well have kicked me in the fucking knackers that day. I was wounded. But yeah, so for where I want to go, my racing aspirations, the Fireblade's completely the wrong bike. So yeah, this season's been hard. I've had quite a number of substantial offs. The last one royally fucking myself up on.
I saw that actually. I saw that. I saw some images of you.
Yeah.
That was at
Mallory.
Mallory, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, front brake failure when you're accelerating. It's not good.
Yeah.
So like ordinarily when you come off on a circuit, you're punted off the circuit. I was punted straight down the line, straight down the racing line.
Yeah.
And it was the out lap of qualifying practice. Now, because I was in the paupers end of the paddock, I was out on track towards the front. But then I've got Leon Jaycock and all the BSB boys that were racing there that weekend coming out behind me. And I'm not ashamed to say I fucking shat my pants.
Yeah.
Right, you've seen the image of Jodie Fieldhouse.
I did.
Doing a rolling stop at about 100 mile an hour, about 3 foot from my head.
I did. Yeah. Just as well, her brakes were pretty damn good. Eh?
Yeah. Well, apparently she complains all the time that she's shit on the brakes. I beg to differ.
Yeah. Well, her braking turned up on the day. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I saw
that
stoppy. Yeah. That must have been pretty terrifying. Is that the thing that's, is it just the cost of getting everything put back together again? Is it the?
Well, there was damage to the bike, a crash bung. That was it.
Oh, okay.
A 30 quid crash bung. That's the only damage to the bike.
Bloody hell.
The way that it went down, it didn't catch on anything. So there was no twisting. It didn't somersault or anything like that. It didn't flip. It literally just went down, had a bit of a kip and slid down the tarmac.
Yeah.
Went a long way.
Dropped you off in the middle of the tarmac.
Yeah, well, I think all the damage to me happened because I was fighting inertia, because I knew that I was going straight into the path of where the bikes were going to be going. So I was trying to fight. So instead of sliding, I ended up tumbling, and I must have I tumbled a long way.
Yeah.
It was literally head, elbow, arse, knees, head, elbow, arse, knees. 5 fractured T4 down to T8. 3 ribs. My collarbone got shattered into 4 pieces, and then my scaphoid snapped clean in 2 as well. Everything's all mustard now, apart from the scaphoid still giving me some chip. Apparently, it's still in 2 bits, but can learn to live with that.
So are air vests mandatory on the track nowadays?
No.
No.
And I'll be honest, I don't like air vests. I had one, and I've used it once, but the back. So we'll get on to what I did in the army in a bit, but during that time, I broke my back. Then I had a compression fracture on L2 and L3. So I'm always really wary of my lower back, and the back protector piece on an air vest only covers your thoracic spine. It doesn't cover the lumbar region.
Okay. Like your coccyx.
Yeah, I don't like putting all my eggs in the technology basket. So I wear force field. I wear force field shorts that are all reinforced and padded, cover your coccyx, and then I've got I think it's an L2 Pro back protector. It's an awesome bit of kit. Yeah, like I say, I think it's. I don't know. I try not to overanalyze that crash because I probably would never race again.
Well, that's what that's what I was coming round to, really, Rich. You've I don't see that bike in your garage.
No. So I looked at it. A part of that was me being. I want to get to Scarborough. I want to go road racing. Yeah. Now you can't road race a liter bike unless you've got an international license. The maximum you can race is a 750, but that's only if it's a modern classic. So something like your SRAD Gixxer 750. What else fit into it? The ZX7R. They're the biggest capacity bikes you can race on the road racing.
Okay.
Other than that, you're looking at you're looking at 600s, you're looking at twins, or going smaller, your 125s. But I'm 6'2", 95 kilos. I ain't making a 125 go far. So yeah, I am going to race again, 100%. I've got unfinished business. I'm going to be working on the blade that you can see behind me over winter. I'm not going to race that, but I'm going to turn it more track focused than road focused. And yeah, we'll see. And the CRF as well might get a little bit of tarmac treatment.
Yeah. Yeah. So why lean towards more race prep than road prep, if you like, on that blade?
Because
if you're not going to race it, I mean, if you're not going to race it,
a road bike feels completely different to a properly set up race bike. Completely different. I could get on this bike that you can see behind me and then get on my 2008, which the chassis, the geometry, everything's the same from an 08 to a 16, but it felt completely different. A lot more focused on the front end. Obviously, the suspension's completely different as well. So the 16 bike's got big piston shower forks and shower rear shock that's all fully adjustable and stuff. I don't know. I had K-Tech on the race bike and they were absolutely gleaming. So I don't know. I've got to chuck my money at something.
Well, you've found a great cause then, because I've found that if I've ever got any spare cash, then it usually ends up somewhere on the bike or in the bike or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so yeah. Sorry.
I think the biggest reason for me selling the Fireblade, but I had to sit when I was injured. It was absolutely breaking me. I got invited to one of the No Limits endurance rounds to work the pits for one of my friends.
Yeah.
And I fucking hated every second of it. I absolutely hated it. Don't get me wrong, I love being around the paddock, but not being that side of the pit wall. It's just shit, massively shit. And I sat back and I'd come out here for a tinker and stuff, and the bike sat in the corner, and I grew to loathe it. I love the bike, but it wasn't going to take me where I wanted to go. Trying to get signatures to get to national license, racing what essentially was a 14-year-old bike, it was never going to happen. I might as well turned around in a gale force wind and started pissing.
Yeah.
So it gets to the point where you know that you're throwing money off to bad.
Yep.
So I've one of the guys that follows me on Twitter, he's loved the bike as long as I've had it, and he knows it, what I've done to it.
Yeah.
And we got chatting, and I said, look, if I'm going to sell it, I don't just want to sell it to someone who tries getting it for pennies, and I know that they're going to throw it at the scenery straight away. I want to. If I'm going to sell it, I want to sell it to somebody who's going to invest the time, energy, and effort that I have into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he came and picked it up last month. So I know it's gone to a good home. And in all fairness, he's asked me to go on some track days with him and coach him on how to ride it to the best of its ability, which is another reason why I need my national license, because you can't coach unless you've got your national and an ACU commercial coach's license.
Right. Is that a new direction, do you reckon, for you, perhaps?
It was always.
Okay.
So my background in the army towards the end of my career was coaching and mentoring. So I left with a level 7 diploma in coaching and mentoring. Used to teach all the instructors at Sandhurst and all that kind of stuff, and how to get the best out of students. And all those skills that I had in the army, I want to use in an environment that I'm passionate about. So if I can couple my coaching and mentoring background with the motorbikes, then yeah, mega.
Yeah, it seems to make sense as well, doesn't it? Sounds like a logical move for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about the is it an enduro or is it a motocross bike lurking in the background?
It's a motocross.
Yeah,
motocross
crosser.
bike. Yeah.
Crosser. Yeah. Tell us about that, because I think this has got a story, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah.
So I bought the motocross bike.
Was it CRF?
Yeah, CRF. 2013 CRF 450.
Yeah.
So I bought that just for seat time, because the cost, even the cost of a track day on when you're going on a race bike and using slicks, you're not getting much change out of £1,000. And on a track day as well, unless it's an open pit lane, you don't achieve what you set out to achieve because you're not on the circuit long enough. So yeah, I was just motocross. It's a hell of a lot cheaper, like a ridiculous amount cheaper. Let's put it this way: I tell the truth to my wife about what the CRF cost me to ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, that says a lot, doesn't it? Really.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's skip over that.
Yeah. So
because I always tell the truth about costs as well.
Yeah. Oh, thing is, my missus isn't daft. She knows exactly what I've put into my racing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the figures I water in.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm quite open talking about it because I think that a lot of people don't appreciate just what racers put in to getting on the grid. And not just at club level in British Superbikes. Half of those boys are having to part with the best part of 25 grand to be able to take part in BSB.
Yeah, and even some of the riders who are up there, if you like.
Yeah.
Some of them are paying for a ride as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that doesn't sound particularly good, does it? Sounds like it could be something else, construed as something else.
Yeah.
We are talking about bikes here.
But you've only got to look at Taz McKenzie. The guy's a national champion, and he gets, oh yeah, you can come to Yamaha, but it'll cost you 300 grand. It's like, what? Are you for real? It's
yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Do you know Ben Tolliday? He races in Supersport.
Yeah.
Ben. So he's off just now because he's unable to race at the moment. But spent a lot of time with Ben in the paddock, and him and his old man. And he was giving us a really good insight into what the actual costs are, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised that there are so many people who still race because those costs are frightening. Yeah. And then you've got an allocation of tires and and he's explaining to me that they missed out Thruxton this year just because it's so hard on tires.
Yeah, I can believe it. It's like I didn't have the luxury of tipping up with 3 brand spanking sets of tires for a race weekend. If I was feeling flush, I was turning up with 1 set and making them last all weekend.
Right.
Maybe doing qualifying on a set of scrubs that I'd had from the previous. But yeah, even then, I reckon all in fuel cost to get there, fuel for the bike, before you've even had an accident, you're looking at the best part of 1,500 quid for a race weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's you looking after your tires as well.
Yeah. Overall, last year, in my first year, including the bike build, I spent 26 grand.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And
that, and that's you living off a shoestring base, or you're operating on a shoestring as well. I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, one big accident, that's it, game over.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that I could have rebuilt the bike from ground up.
Well, not even an accident, Rich. I mean, you could blow an engine.
Yeah.
And that's you.
Well, you're looking at, for a replacement engine, you're looking at about 3-4 grand.
Yeah. And then and all the parts as well, of course, because replacement parts are becoming pretty difficult. That whole supply chain is really suffering at the moment. So yeah.
But it got to the point as well that even getting all the tires for a race weekend was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like one of my best mates that I went to school with, his dad runs Leeds Bike Tires, who sponsor the army team. And I'd phone up for a set of tires, and he was like, "Rich, I just can't get hold of them. Get hold of them for love nor money." So then I'd end up having to race on a brand that I want familiar with. Yeah, I think it was another big motivator for me to sell the Fireblade as well, because the uncertainty of the economy at the moment, mate, I'm married. I'm married with 4 kids,
Mm.
so they are and always will be priority number one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I sat there injured. I just had to make a decision. Right, what are you going to do next year? I don't even know if I'm going to be fit enough to ride next year. So that's when I decided to get rid of the bike. And if the scaphoid's better come the new year, then I might end up with an S-Rad 750 sat here and start spinning the spanners on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
never say never, but at the same time, I've got to be sensible with my approach.
So let's circle back round again. Let's talk about this CRF 450.
Yeah. So, you've met Paul, the founding.
I have
the founding board member. I think that's the right way to describe him. Founding director of Mental Health Motorbike.
Yeah,
so
I met Paul. Yeah,
I approached him. It'll have been midway last season, because I got talking to quite a lot of guys. I became a personal sponsor of Joey Thompson. Tried helping him out, and just chatting to all these guys, I started to understand experiences that they'd encountered in the paddock and on the circuit that's affected them mentally. And I just thought, you know what, I don't know, and I'm not confident that the facilities in place to deal with that. I mean, you look at other sports and they have sports psychologists who are getting the best out of their athletes.
Yeah.
But in a sport where the top athletes are having to pay to be there, you can guarantee that they're not getting that support. So, and then I also thought about another experience that I'd had, where I'd been a bystander to a motorcycle accident, and how that affected me. And with my military career in that, you can have all the training in the world. I mean, the training that I had to go to Afghanistan was second to none. But the things that I experienced over there I still brought some of that home with me. So to me, it stood to reason that marshals, in particular, they're the first ones on the scene. They're the first responders.
Yeah.
So who is it that where's their support mechanism? I know they get fantastic training in that, but where is there outside of that training bubble where they can go to and say, oh, look, I just need help. I need to offload this and I need to talk about it. So I came up with the idea of trying to raise money, because one thing that Mental Health Motorbike do is they deliver mental health first aid courses. So I was like, well, if we can raise the money to cover the costs of that, we could then turn around to the ACU or the Marshals Association and say, look, we've got a pot of money here. We want to train some of your people in mental health first aid. They put a nice little green badge on the orange boiler suit. And then no matter who needs it, there is one focal point there that is able to triage, assess, and signpost people to the relevant agencies to assist them. And the thing with me, when a seed plants in my mind, it goes like Jack in the fucking beanstalk. So then I end up with this CRF sat here, and I quite enjoyed riding it. And I thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be a good idea if I had to go to the Weston fucking Beach Race? Bearing in mind, I've never raced motocross ever. Never ridden on sand. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing next weekend.
Yeah, I saw the tires. You posted up a picture of those tires. I mean, they're like caterpillar tracks.
Yeah,
they've got like massive paddles on them. I don't know. You probably can't see from there.
They look like they belong on the back of a Mississippi steamboat.
They do, yeah, they do. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah, I've done a little. Well, we did a little bit of motocross when we were kids, schoolboy motocross, and we used to go ride on the beaches. Not allowed, you know. Used to have the Forestry Commission chasing us as well, but that's another story. But yeah, it's incredibly difficult riding on sand because it could just go anywhere. The bike can just go anywhere.
Yeah.
you know, and it's been that long ago. I don't, God, several
So
lifetimes away, but I, I couldn't even tell you what to expect. But you've probably spoken with a whole pile of people who have already done something like this before, I imagine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Titch McCormack from the S-Bomb Speed Shop. He's got the BBC Two program. So he did it with one of his mates, Billy, and that was televised last year. So I pinged him a message because he's ex-military as well, and he's given me loads of sage advice. Some of it, one of the things that he's recommended to me was to increase the sprocket size on the rear. I think it was a 50. I can't remember what sprocket size he told me to change to, but I've decided not to because in sand it's going to put that much more strain on the engine than what it's designed to take. The last thing I want is for the engine to go bang. So I'm not going there to try and win. I'd be freaking mental if I had that approach. I'm literally going to try and get to that finish line.
Okay. Tell us about. I've never watched it before. Tell us a bit about the event.
So essentially, 1,000 to 1,200 starters. You're all starting a pen. So when I get there on Friday, I've got to put my bike in Park Ferme, and I don't see my bike again until the Sunday when the race is. Start of the race, everybody's all in a pen. Somebody releases a klaxon, and then 1,200 bodies sprint to find their bike in Park Ferme, start it, and then you take. It's supposed to be a controlled escort down to the beach. It fucking isn't. It's far from it. There's elbows going everywhere, people falling over, getting ridden over. It's carnage, absolute carnage. And then you get to the start line, and then these gates open. And the circuit is 4.5 miles long. It's got a 1.5 mile straight that then doubles back on itself. And then it's part of the beach regeneration program. So part of the flood defences for Somerset Council. So everyone thinks that all motorbikes come and just absolutely run amok on the beach. There's actually a purpose behind it. So they create, I think the biggest sand dune, for want of a better phrase, is 50 foot tall. It's just keep doing as many laps as you can for 3 hours. The attrition rate's unbelievable.
I was going to say, I mean, it must be just, it must be mental in terms of the number of people who are.
Yeah, it's about 50% attrition rate, something like that.
A war of attrition.
Yeah. So there's bikes that sink up to the freaking seat unit, to the air boxes. Someone can go on YouTube and have a look at one of the videos, and it'd be like, oh my god, it's just mental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to go and do that now, Rich. As it's sounds pretty mad. I remember when I was competing in schoolboy motocross. I remember the adrenaline that you would have on the start line, and I guess that's no different from the adrenaline that you'd have on any start line, really.
Oh, my ass is going to be nipping.
But if you've got 1,200 other competitors, and all you can hear is those 1,200 bikes,
Well, Fagan from 44 Teeth did it a few years ago, and he's got a video on YouTube of him doing it. It's fucking hilarious. It's brilliant. But at the start, he's like, I can't breathe because of the fumes of the two strokes around him, and that there's just a blue haze all around him.
Yeah.
It's going to be an experience.
Looking forward to that. When is that again, Rich?
So it's the 21st till the 23rd of October. My race, it's the open solo, I think. I can't remember what the term is. It's basically the big bikes. So on the Saturday, they have a kids 65cc race, and then quads and sidecars. And then on the Sunday in the morning, there's kids 85, and then it's anything goes. I mean, there was one guy the other year tried doing it on a C90. No, there's that I could put knobbly tires on this Fireblade and enter
Yeah,
on that.
right.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
A C90. The like the
yeah, the
yeah, I know
chicken chaser thing.
yeah, yeah, the little the panels at the front.
Yeah. So
Chicken chaser.
he got himself all done up in a tweed suit, got on a C90, and he started just bombing. I think he did 2 laps, and then the thing went, nah, fuck this, and
Oh,
blew up.
I'd be surprised he managed to get two in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And what happens when a bike is there some sort of form of recovery there, or is it
Yeah, yeah.
just does it just turn into a big graveyard full of bikes that you need
So
to
if it
navigate around?
half and half really. If the bike can be moved, then they'll recover you back to the pits. But if it can't be moved, it sits there until the race has ended, and then JCBs come along and dig it out the sand.
To get out. Mm.
Yeah. Um,
That
but
sounds like a good laugh.
I've got a decent pick crew with me. I'm doing a bit of a white helmets reunion. So lads that served in the white helmets, some of them served with me. Others either joined before or joined after.
Mm.
They're going to be working the pits for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good segue actually, because I was going to ask you about the white helmets. I don't know how did I how did I find out that you were in the white helmets? I'm sure you didn't tell me, you know.
mm.
Uh, but hey, tell us about that because
So when I didn't join the army till I was 19, and the only reason why I joined was because my mum was doing my tits in, and I couldn't get a job in Leeds. So I
yeah.
just needed to get away from home. So I went to the careers office, and they
Is
sit you
that where
down
you're
and
from originally? Then
yeah,
Leeds. Is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So they sit you down and they do this. Well, they used to do this thing called a barb test, where basically they try and figure out how retarded you are and up to going to war. Um, um, and it came out that I could either join the REME, so the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers, the Royal Engineers, or the Royal Signals. I didn't know what I freaking wanted to do. I didn't have a clue.
yeah.
So I'm looking through these brochures, and then I get to this picture where there's 6 motorbikes all in a row and a pyramid of geezers like stood on top of each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
And another one of someone jumping through fire. I was like, right, I don't care what the fuck I need to do. That's what I've got to join so I can do that.
Yeah.
So I ended up joining the Signals. Spent over a year training to do the trade that I was given, which was essentially a BT worker for the army. So I was up telegraph poles and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as I finished that, I was like, right, I want to go to white helmets. And they were like, oh no, nish. We've just invested a shitload of cash in you, son. You're off to Bosnia.
Yeah.
So I went to Bosnia and Kosovo, doing my job over there. So up telegraph poles and crawling under floors with cables. And I must have put my application form in to join the team about 4 times while I was out there. And each time my boss was like, no, you're not doing that, ripped it up. So on the premise that shy boys never get any sweets, I thought, fuck it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got an envelope, put the application form in, and I sent it to Colonel Anderton, who at the time was running the white helmets. Put a note on the bottom. None of my bosses will sign this because they're on. They're just getting in the way. They're being obstructive. And because he was a colonel, he was able to go, right, wind your neck in. He's coming. So yeah, 2001, I went on selection, and I ended up doing 3 years with the team. It was fucking brilliant. Absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, white helmets. What are you?
World's premier motorcycle display team.
The world's premier motorcycle display team. Yeah, I was going to say what's the RAF have? They other than big planes, they've got the red arrows, haven't they?
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
got the red. They got a red
I couldn't
arrows and a map.
imagine. I couldn't imagine them letting you into the RAF and letting you loose on one of those jet planes. So you're probably
I was,
better in the white helmets.
I was shit. I was shit at maths, so there was no chance I'd ever go to go and do aviation. Not a chance.
The aviator.
Uh,
So come on and tell me what's the crack with the white helmets? What were you getting up to?
so the selection course.
Did you ever use that to get you VIP treatment anywhere?
Right. Some stories need to say so, like in the white helmets. um,
No.
I think the biggest eye opener, to be fair, was the selection course. It sounds like, well, 3 years riding motorbikes doing displays. That must have been buckshy. I tell
Yeah.
you what, it was hard work, really hard work.
Heart, come
Um,
on. You're pulling the
so that,
leg.
no. Wait, if you think about it, it was a traditional display team. So there was none of this wearing the synthetics that you wear on a motocross bike. That
Yeah.
we were wearing heavy wool number one dress uniform, um, and all of the displays are at the height of summer. So yeah, you try doing a 45
Smelly,
minute.
smelly Yorkshire bastard.
Well, see, everyone had this superstition, never change. So the t-shirt that you wore underneath your number ones, the superstition was like you can't change your shirt, because if you change your shirt, you're going to have a serious accident. Now, bearing in mind, one of the guys had a brain hemorrhage because of a head-on collision. Another guy lost his testicle because it got, as they've T-boned, it's got caught underneath the fuel tank of the Triumph. There's some savage injuries. In fact, there was a young lad, because have you heard of the Honda Imps?
No.
So
No.
Honda Imps, right? You need, honestly, on Instagram or whatever, look them up. The Honda Imps, a fantastic voluntary outfit down in London, near West Ham Green Street area. I can't remember exactly where they're from, but so they take kids, teach them how to fix motorbikes, and they emulate the white helmets display, and they're still going.
Well,
Unfortunately, the white
getting their
helmets are,
testicles cut off and
but they emulate everything. So doing the wheelies, doing the jumping over each other, and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
It's a cracking little display that they put on, and
yeah.
all those kids go on to greater things. So yeah, for all the naysayers that say motorbikes just don't lead to anything, for those kids it does. But anyway, I'll digress massively there. There's a number of kids teams, and one of them was displaying with us in Catterick, I think it was, and they, like the white helmets do, where two bikes are approaching each other, and then the last minute you turn and do what we call a cut. And they got the timing wrong, and they had a head-on collision, and one of the poor boys lost his life.
Oh, shit.
Off the top of my head, I think he was about 13, 14. And that really affected everybody. A few of us from the White Helmets went down to the funeral and stuff like that. But yeah, it had its low points, and it was hard work as well. If you imagine going for a 45-minute run in the midday sun wearing a woolen suit, that's essentially what it was. So one of the tricks that I had to do was motorbike, there'd be one guy riding the bike backwards. I'd be stood on the back mudguard. There'd be a 6-foot ladder attached to the bike. And once the bike had started going, I'd run up the ladder. The guy riding it had let go with his hands. And then I'd do a headstand at the top of this ladder, and then have to hold that headstand all the way around to the arena, which is full of divots and potholes. And so it wasn't just a case of just slinging your leg over a Triumph and riding around waving at people.
Yeah, no. But so, what sort of training were you getting for that? You must have had to train. I mean, but that's incredibly physical as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So the selection course was it was physically arduous course. It'd start off with like, bearing in mind, some of the guys that tipped up couldn't even ride a push bike. So the first week of the selection course would be just monkey see, monkey do, up on the airfield, riding. I can't remember what bikes they used on the airfield, to be fair. They were lower powered bikes. Then
Fireblades.
Yeah. But then we'd go to Bovington Tank Range, and it was literally you'd get woken up in a rather rude manner, probably about 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And by rude manner, I mean like a bucket of water chucked over you. Get out of bed, you got 5 minutes to get on the transport, and if you hadn't prepped your kit the night before, you're stuck out like a spare prick at an Oz wedding. And all of these misdemeanors that they catch you out on, you got booted. You're not because what they were testing
It's a
for
process of selection, isn't it? You know,
yeah. Wait,
you know,
do we want to spend 9 months living on a coach with this guy?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then you'd get to Bovington and it'd be a case of, right, 14 students, 14 bikes, but one of them won't start because half the pieces of the motorbike are scattered all around Bovington. So now you've got to go find those pieces, bring it all back, rebuild the bike. And then, yeah, it was just carnage for 3 days on Bovington. But it was non-stop riding. It wasn't like a track day where you get 15 minutes and then 40-minute session rest.
Yeah.
It was like you're constantly on the bike.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the course, they'd take you all out on the piss. And unbeknownst to those of you on the course, there'd be guys who were current white helmets who'd start poking the fire a little bit, seeing if they could get a rise out of you. So,
okay.
Because obviously you're going into pubs that don't normally have squaddies in there. They want to know, can they handle the beer?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really well run, really well thought out course. And then once you were in, you'd go back to your unit, do your clear, say to ours, and then you'd go to Blandford. Over the winter, you'd learn a secondary. So I was one of the team mechanics. So I was quite lucky because I got to get trained up on the Honda CRF when they first came out.
Okay.
And then, yeah, once the bikes were all sorted and had been the services, you'd have your Christmas leave, come back, and then we used to go up to Sealand near Cheshire, and we'd spend 2 months there, 5 days a week on the airfield, constantly practicing, just rehearsal. Yeah. And you put the show together, and then April time, that's when you'd have the opening display. And then that was you then pretty much on a coach until October.
Really?
Yeah. But no, it was brilliant.
Was it just national, or was there international events as well?
When I was in the team, it was we did the Rhine Army Summer Show out in Germany. Mm-hmm. We also went to South Africa, but that wasn't doing displays. That was doing charity work during the winter. Where else did we go? Over to Ireland. That was a fucking experience. Yeah, 2003. So just as the ceasefire, like the peace process. In fact, was the peace process even signed in 2003?
No, it must have been before then, because
I can't remember what the troubles were, what stage the troubles were at over there. But I know that if it had gone through, it hadn't long gone through.
Yeah.
So we tip up to we had a show in Lisbon, and yeah, we on a coach with Army B, the best, fucking splattered down the side of it. We get us off the ferry, and this young squaddie, he looked about 4 stone, piss wet through. There were note about him, and he gets on with this freaking Browning pistol. It's probably got 13 rounds in it that is zeroed on a 25-meter range. I'm like, what are you going to do if you know what I mean? We're driving through Belfast, and I was, oh my God, this just ain't good. But no, it was.
Yeah.
I made a bit of a spectacle of myself out there, to be fair, because I used to wheelie at the end of the show. And in between the morning show and the afternoon show, there'd been a bit of light drizzle. Yeah. You know, the stuff that don't go into the soil, it just sits on top of the grass.
Yeah.
So gets to the end of the show. I go to lift the Triumph up, and it just spanned the back wheel. So then I was like, right, onto the pillion pegs. So I did a standing up wheelie, stood on the back rear pillion pegs. And I was like, oh, you know, I just caught it perfectly. It was mustard. It was a right wheelie. And then I had to put the front wheel down. But I'd not accounted for the grass being wet, and yeah, I went straight through the barriers into the crowd. That was
not your finest moment.
No, but it wasn't my last one. I think my worst one was at Sheffield. Somebody had the good sense to book a show the same week as Freshers Week. I was 22-year-old and
possibly go wrong.
Yeah, when you're 22 and single, quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think me me and a couple of other lads. I don't think we got in until like 4-5 o'clock in the morning, and then we had to be on the coach at 8 o'clock to go and do a 10 o'clock in morning show. And so before a display, we'd sit around this board that had all the different tricks listed on it, and we'd go through who's doing what, and it's like a bit like a team talk.
Yeah.
And the staffy that ran the team at the time is like, right, Rich, you're all right for the car jump today? I was like, I'd only practiced it a couple of times. I was like, fuck it, yeah, because I could hardly say I was out on the piss, Paul. No, sorry, I can't do that. So yeah, gets the car jump, and because it's one of the bigger tricks, everybody's freaking cameras come out. Well, back then it was disposable wind-ons, so you could hear a collective chorus of as everyone's cameras are being forwarded.
Yeah,
and right. So it's a 16-foot metal ramp held up by 6 blokes.
Yeah.
And I was jumping 10 Triumph motorbikes that were straddled side by side, 2 quads and a Honda Civic. I'd never jumped anything that much. So I thought, right, I need to fucking give this beans. I need to send this. So yeah, I was on a CCM 604 enduro bike. So not the most renowned thing for doing like supercross style jumps.
Not a light bike either, I wouldn't imagine.
Oh no, it was heavy. Big beast with a Rotax engine. So yeah, I'd first, second gear, hammered it off the end of the ramp, and the fucker went vertical. And all I can remember is literally kissing the front mudguard and thinking to myself, this is going to really hurt. Dabbing the back brake like hell, and somehow I landed it, but the fuel tank.
Hold on a second. What the fuck were you dabbing the back brake for? So the bike's already up in the air.
I wasn't thinking what I was doing. I was just shitting my pants. So I've hit the deck. The fuel tank's erupted and fallen off the bike. And my face, because we wear open face helmets, my face is just fucking planted straight into the handlebars. Hence why my nose is now pointing to 2 o'clock. And yeah, I got up. I styled it out. I got up. I thought, I'm in Yorkshire. I'm a Yorkshireman. I cannot fucking lay on the floor crying. So I got up, continued the rest of the display. I was in agony. I was in pure agony. In fact, the next trick after that was that ladder headstand that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So I had to park the bike. One of the lads caught the bike off me. I ran round, got on the back of the bike, and off we went. And I ran up the ladder and did the headstand. We finished the display, and I literally just collapsed in a freaking heap. And then, yeah, it transpired that I had compound fracture on my L2 and L3. So yeah, I got to sit and watch for 8 weeks with everyone calling me a knobhead.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess pretty special part time in your life, I would say. I mean, it's it's not everyone that gets to join the White Helmets. It's.
I think the White Helmets was the demise of my army career as well, if I'm honest, though, because when they disbanded in 2017, I saw my arse quite a lot. Everyone who served in the White Helmets, we're all proud to have been in the team.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's politics that I don't know, and I shouldn't speculate about. But to me, they've done over 90 years. I mean, like Jeff Duke. Jeff Duke was a former team sergeant of the White Helmets. Percy Tate, Slippery Sam Triumph. No. So Percy Tate was a racer in the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
Developed the bike that Barry Sheen went on to go and dominate the GPs.
Okay.
But he's best known for Slippery Sam, which is one of the Triumphs. I think it was Triumph Trident. Raced that at the TT. But the history of the team and the links to the Isle of Man, which the team later, towards the end, they were going out to the Isle of Man and doing displays along with the purple helmets. And I just thought, to get so close to the centenary and for it to be shit carted, by that point I was a warrant officer. So I had the ability to email people without much recourse. And yeah, I might have displayed my displeasure a little bit too loudly. And yeah, it just got to the point where I kind of fell out of love with the Corps, what they'd done to the team, and I just figured it was time to leave.
How long was that you were in the army for?
I did 22 years in total. So it was because of COVID. It was about 22 years and 5 months. I did something like that.
A fair stint, though, Rich.
Yeah.
So are you sorry to just go back to the Life's a Beach thing? Are you doing that for Mental Health Motorbike, or are you? Yeah, you are. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing to raise money for initially, because Mental Health Motorbike, they're only a young charity, right? They were only officially made a charity last year,
right?
So what they can't do is promise the earth, because they won't deliver any of it. But what they are able to do is commit to. So I'm hoping to train 10 This is initially. I'm hoping to train, or at least facilitate the training of 20 race marshals.
Okay.
If I can achieve that, then I'll think that'll be a success.
Okay, so
that's got a price tag of about £2,000 attached to it. So that's my target, is £2,000.
Okay, so if anyone wants to donate or help out for Life's a Beach, where should they go, Rich?
So I've created on Just Giving. So Just Giving have started working with charities as well. So there's a Just Giving page. I think if you search MH Motorbike / Life's a Beach, it should take you to that. But what I'll do is I'll send you the link, and then you can put it in the description of this if you want. Or
I'll do that. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
But there's other stuff in the background that Mental Health Motorbike are also lining up for Bike Live this year, like a live
motorcycle
raffle.
Live.
Yeah.
That's where I met Paul, actually, at Motorcycle Live last year, the NEC. Yeah, he was a lovely guy. And I was just walking past the stand and was interested in what it was all about, and went in, and just there was quite a few of the lads there, and the first guy I spoke to actually was Paul, the founder. So had a good long chat with him, and then of course we met Paul and his missus at Silverstone for BSB.
Yeah. I think the backstory of how the charity started is unbelievable. And Paul's that humble that he won't take any credit, but he deserves a lot. To go through what he went through, losing a friend to suicide, and to have the energy and the passion to do something about it like he has. It's inspiring, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I think something like that really does give someone a sense of purpose, really. You know, and we all need that sense of purpose as well. But so let's talk about bikes. Let's talk about your relationship with bikes, and when I tell you what, first things first, let's just get rid of these caps.
I'm glad you said that, because my ball patch is like starting to go into flood.
Yeah, I've got.
It doesn't suit without the flat cap.
It doesn't, does it? Actually, neither of them suit me. The pipe or the flat cap, neither of those suit me.
Yeah.
In fact, my kids would say, "Oh, that was it." I was taking my youngest to school the other day, and then usually what I'm doing is I fire the dogs into the back of the pickup, take the kids to school, and then drop them off, and then carry on up to walk the dogs, you know. And it was pretty nippy that morning, so I thought I'd take the Peaky Blinder out and let it breathe, you know.
Fair one.
And I put it on in the morning as I was wandering around the house, and forgot I had it on. And my youngest one just point blank refused to get into the car unless I took the hat off. She was just absolutely mortified that I was wearing this hat, Peaky Blinders. So, so just as I had it in the truck with me, and I've dropped them, the two youngest ones. I've dropped them off outside the school, and they're just walking around the front of the pickup, and all of their pals are across the other side of the road there, and so just as she's meeting up with her pals, it was a couple of toots on the horn. back on with the hat.
I bought my son one when he was about 8 years old. And he's like, Dad, I can't wear that. I can't. Oh no, it's not cool. It's not this. But son, you've got Yorkshire blood flowing through your veins. Get it on your head.
Yeah.
He still don't wear it though. He's like, we live in Stafford. Because I've lived in Staffordshire all my life. I'm Staffordian.
Staffordian. Is that actually the word? Is it Staffordian?
I assume so. I don't know. It ain't got the it's not Yorkshire, is it?
No, it's not. No. I thought you were from Yorkshire, but and then when you said, "Oh no, I live in Stafford, or Staffordshire," I thought it's odd because I'm usually okay with accents, you know. Yeah. So bikes, the addictive world of motorcycle ownership. When did it start for you, Rich?
I honestly can't remember. Early. I'll have been about 5 or 6, I think. Most people say, "Oh, my dad had one" and all that kind of stuff. Now, my dad wasn't around. My mother hates motorbikes to the extent where she told my brother the other day that if I keep racing, she can't bear to look at me. But next door but one, there was my neighbour's son. He was about 19. And I can't remember what bike he had, but he was always tinkering with it, and I was fascinated. And Jason was the type of lad he'd never tell me to piss off. He was like, well, he's showing an interest. So he taught me like basic mechanics really early on. And then back then as well, bike racing was on the BBC on a Sunday afternoon. So I'm old enough or fortunate enough, depends how you look at it, old enough to have seen Barry Sheen racing towards the back end of his career. So who else will have been around there? Wayne Rainey, all them lot.
Kenny Roberts.
And I'd just sit avid in front of the TV watching the bike racing. Yeah. Then I'd jump on my bike, and outside our house there was like what we called a semicircle. It was just a path that went round the houses that came back on itself to create like a crescent shape.
Yeah.
And I'd go as fast as I could around, trying to get my freaking knee down on a push bike.
How old were you?
I'll have been about 5, 6, 7 years old.
Trying to get your knee down on a push bike.
Just trying to get as low as I could. Every single time I'd end up at neighbour's edge.
I was going to say that's only going to end one way, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, and then my best mate, who I mentioned earlier, Adam, out the back of his dad's garage, they had like this big compound, and Adam had like a QR. I think it was a QR50. He had a number of kids' motocross bikes, so that's where we'd go and play. We'd go play down at Adam's, and we'd just do lap after lap and race each other on these bikes. And then because I grew up in a village on the outskirts of Leeds, the village had 2 pubs, 1 newsagent's, and 5 farms. So there was always a farm to go and play on because one of my mates that I went to school with. So we were just constantly tinkering. Like one of the lads, his dad would turn up with an old knackered moped and he'd be like, "Right, boys, if you can get that running, you could piss
help
about
you fill your boots,
yeah. So I never actually owned my own motorbike until I was a teenager. But I was
just nick other people's.
Yeah, just ride other people's. Which was good.
I said nick other people's.
Yeah. But it was good though, because my mum never found out about it.
Yeah.
And then when I was old enough to do my bike test, I was like, right, I'm getting a bike. But by this point, my mum had remarried, and my stepdad he'd lost his best mate. His best mate got killed when the 916 first came out. So a van had lost control on a bend, gone up an embankment, and at the same time as Gary's come around the corner, the van's been rolling back down the embankment. So the bike was found in two pieces either side of the road, and Gary was found in the back of the van. So yeah, my stepdad's response to that was pinning me against a wall and telling me if I ever bought a motorbike, he'd break both my legs. So then, as soon as I could, I went and bought one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. Presumably, you never broke both your legs either.
No. And to be fair to me, old man, this season it's been my dad that's come with me to races, and he's been doing my tyres and the bits that he can. He's a knackered old guy now. I took him up to Oliver's Mount to watch the racing at the Spring Cup. Sorry, not the Spring Cup, the Gold Cup. And I took him down the hill to get. I don't know if you've been to Scarborough, but
well, I have been to Scarborough once, I think.
Yeah, you need your walking boots with you. Yeah, he got down to start finish straight. I got him back up to the bar, and then he nearly had a coronary. So yeah, bless him. As much as he's tried to help me this year, it's been ace having him around, but
yeah.
So yeah,
yeah. So quite an early age into motorcycle addictions. Yeah, but similar to myself. I was 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah. Well, you did motocross. You raced motocross, didn't you, as a kid?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, me and my brother. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, there's no way I could do that these days. I mean, I'm 55 years old now, and it's a struggle to get my socks on in the morning.
Cod liver oil.
It's no, I that's funny actually, because I was thinking about that the other day. So up in Scotland, the health professionals advise you to take vitamin D daily, especially as we go into this time of the year as well.
That's because you're near enough in Arctic though, so you never get any freaking sunlight.
Never. Well, we do. We get nothing but sunlight or daylight during the summer.
And all your buildings are made out of grey granite, so the sunlight that is around don't even bounce off the buildings. You guys are fucked.
That's it. Yeah, granite. Yes, nothing travels through granite. Yeah. In fact, they're probably great for nuclear war shelters.
Well, that's why they put fast lane up there where you boys live.
Yeah, or Doonray up in the nuclear reactor up at Doonray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're talking about?
Early bikes.
Early bikes. Yeah.
So how come you stopped racing motocross as a kid then? What was it that stopped you?
The old man sold the bikes.
What a bastard.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
To be fair, I've just sold my sons.
Right.
Yeah, I bought my son a Husky TC85.
Yeah.
And you know what? He was taking to it. But then he got to the speed where when things went wrong, it was scary. And yeah, he was like, Dad, I'd rather just race my mountain bike. All right.
Oh, okay. Right. No, well, I think, what it's like. I mean, you get back from an event, and the last thing you want to be doing is cleaning the bike down, You're just knackered. You're absolutely knackered.
So my lad were good with that.
Yeah.
He not once did I have to pressure him into washing his bike. But yeah, if you're racing, though, a different kettle of fish, get that.
Yeah. So I think once too often we were leaving it. We were leaving the clean down a bit longer than my old man really wanted us to. So he just went, "Well, fuck you." He says, "I'm selling them." So that was the end of our motocross career. Not that I was any good at it anyway, but I had streaks of madness where I'd just get on the bike one day at an event and just knock it right out the park, and nothing could touch me. But those were few and far between. Most of the time I was worried about coming off, It's only when you stop worrying about coming off that you start to make gains,
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was I guess what in terms of life skills, and in terms of understanding how a bike handles, and what to do when you start to lose the bike, because you're losing it all the time on a motocross bike. I guess that was just priceless, really. Gives me a lot more confidence on a bike on the road these days, for sure. But not to the point where I'm going, I'm overly confident. But yeah.
It's muscle memory, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I do know. Well, speaking about that, I actually noticed that each time I go back out on the bike, because I don't ride it I only ride on the roads.
Hmm.
Tracks.
No aspirations to do track day.
Well, you covered this earlier in our conversation. The costs. I know that if I go and start doing track days, I'll then want to compete.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if I'm competing, that's taken up more and more of my time. It's taken up probably money, a lot more money than I would want it to. I know how that goes. I know how that journey would go. So I wouldn't just be able to go and do a track day and not just go to the far end, to the full extreme.
Yeah.
And as I say, I'm 55, so I'm probably way older than I should be, or to be any good.
Do you know what I mean? Don't know. It depends what your measure of really good is, and what your expectation is of yourself, where you'd want to get to.
I get that.
I know for a fact that I'm never ever going to race the TT. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm probably pissing in the wind trying to get to the Manx. But have I got the ability to get my national license and go race at Scarborough? Fucking right, I have.
Yeah.
One of the guys that's become a friend in the paddock, a guy called Degsy, he's in his 60s. He's just finished. He's just finished third at Darley Moor this weekend.
Yeah.
Had a good run out at the Gold Cup. So age is. I'm a firm believer that age is just a number.
Yeah. Well, I do. I subscribe to that to an extent as well, Rich. And I get that, because on the road, it's your ability to process information and react. So it's process and reaction times.
Yeah.
And I'm still, I think my ability to process information and react is as good as it's ever been, I would say. Yeah. But at the early, when I don't ride in the, I've got a sports bike, so I don't ride in the winter months. And when I start, when the temperature starts to pick up a little bit, late spring, mid to late spring, I'm back out on the bike again when the roads are dry. Yeah. And I feel as if, I just need my stabilizers on again. It's that I've lost that.
Yeah.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. That was my big motivation for buying the CRF, because during close
weathers.
Yeah, during close season when there's no racing on, it's not just that loss of muscle memory. I might as well have chopped both my legs off, because motorbikes to me is, if I can't get out and ride a bike, I'm better off not being around, because my mind state it's just life's shit. It's I'd rather go out on the bike in the pissing rain than go to the pub and get pissed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's it don't matter what the weather's doing. I just love being on two wheels.
Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind riding in the wet. I wouldn't purposely go out when it's wet, but I think wet riding really sharpens your sharpens your skills.
I think as well, it makes you, if you're looking for speed, it makes you faster and safer during the summer months as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because to go fast in the wet, you have to be smooth.
Yeah.
And smooth is fast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the majority of the trophies that I won last year, they were all wet races.
Okay.
Because obviously my bike had no traction control on it. It had no electronics at all, apart from a quick shifter.
Mm-hmm.
So in the dry, I'm up against everybody that's got the traction control dialed in and anti-wheelie and all those gizmos. Whereas the rain was a leveler. And because I'm used to riding in the wet, I was able to punch at the front there on a bike that had no business being there. So, yeah.
And do you ride on the road a fair bit as well?
Yeah. So I get out as much as I can on the road bike. I'll be honest, I don't enjoy riding on the road anymore. No, I mean, like the Fireblade, I don't even need to get out of second gear. Because even at the top end of second, you're breaking the speed limits. With the job I've got now, I can't afford to get points on my license. So but then when I do open it up, I get a nice little big grin. And I love the Fireblade. It's such a capable all-round bike.
Yeah. Are they the roads down by you? Are they, do you get any nice quiet twisty roads, or usually fairly heavy with traffic?
I'm half hour from the border of Wales.
Okay.
So there's some beautiful roads there, but they've just stuck 40 mile an hour speed limits up literally everywhere.
Yeah. So
I've got 40 minutes going north. I'm in the Peak District.
Yeah.
So I can be up by Matlock. So yeah, there's some decent riding around here. But it's the volume of traffic on the roads now, the speed cameras all over the place. Not that I'm condoning people speeding and breaking the law.
Of course not.
But yeah, it's you like a spirited ride every now and again. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of them. But I'll never not own a blade. I'll love them.
Yeah. Well, what is it? What is it about the? I mean, I had the baby one. I had the
CBR 6.
I just had the CBR 650.
All right.
So I wanted. Is it the RR 600 RR?
Yeah.
I wanted that, but then something else came along. Triumph 675 Daytona.
Right.
That came along, but I was hunting down an RR for a while because the CBR 650. I had a hiatus for 15 odd years where I didn't have a bike, and I didn't want to. My previous bike to that was a 748 Ducati, so I didn't want to just jump off of that, go for 15 years without riding a bike, and then jump back onto something pretty powerful. I knew in my own head that I wasn't, but I couldn't be responsible. So I bought that CBR 650F, and what a fantastic bike to. I mean, it looks great. What's got? I had a Krapovich 4-into-1 exhaust on it, so it sounded good as well.
Yeah.
It was about 97 horsepower or something like that. It's still enough to get you into trouble, on the roads.
Yeah.
But still good to, it wasn't mental, right? And that really got me back into, got me my biking legs, if you like.
Yeah.
And all of the things that I felt, so I had this for about a year and a half. Did I have a year and a half, 2 years maybe? And all the things that I wanted on the CBR looked as if the RR, the 600 RR, had all of those things. So upgraded suspension, brakes, and so on and so on. And so that's why I wanted the RR, rather than put money into upgrading these things on the 650.
Yeah.
But then one of my mates pointed out a brand new Triumph Daytona 675 R, and then I chopped in the CBR and moved on to the Daytona, and the Daytona is a beautiful bike as well. I'm repeating myself because in the last episode with Alex Wynn, we talked about this as well. But
I've had Suzuki's, I've had Kawasaki's, clearly I've had Hondas.
Mm.
I've had Yamahas. What else have I had? Ducati.
What Ducati did you have?
The Multistrada S.
Okay.
Um,
So you don't
awesome.
strike me as a Multistrada rider.
So I bought it for commuting. It was going to be my commuting work bike.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I thought I could go off on like weekend trips with it and stuff like that. But it's still got enough of a zing to put a grin on my face when I'm at the throttle.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I even took it on a track day. And it was really good. I was really surprised by it because it had all the active adjustable suspension and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then it shat its pants on New Year's Eve, in a biblical way. Wasn't even gunning it. And yeah, apparently before I bought the bike, it had a service done to it, and stretch bolts. I can't remember too much about the Ducati setup, but the stretch bolts inside, where the cam pulleys. Is it the cam pulleys? Anyway, these stretch bolts hadn't been replaced for new ones. They'd put the old stretch bolts in. And yeah, literally the valves went straight through the arse end of the engine, and yeah, it was a write-off. It was 5 months into its warranty, and I had 4 weeks of warranty left on it when it happened. And I took it back to where I bought it from, and I tell you what, they couldn't have been any better. It took them 2 weeks to get the bike stripped down, make a decision. Yeah, this isn't your fault. Come back in. This is the value of the bike now. Bearing in mind it had appreciated. They went to that value. Take the pick in the showroom what you want. So I went back to what I know is reliable and got the Fireblade.
Yeah. What is it about the Fireblade then? Well, what is it about Hondas? Is it just the
build quality? I don't think you can beat the build quality on a Honda. I can't say for the current ones that they're churning out, but like I say, this one's a 2016, and it's faultless. It's absolutely immaculate, and you could just tell. Right, I suppose it's like difference between a Vauxhall and a Ford. You know, where you get in a Vauxhall and it sounds like you've just sat in a freaking tin can, whereas a Ford's it's comparable. It's at that middle budget end, but you close the door and it's like, all right, this has actually been put together by someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas other bikes, yeah, they've got the punch, they've got the go, but yeah, I think they're like like I'm not a fan of the gearboxes of the Yamahas that I've had. Kawasaki's. I've always had dramas with the paint finish and corrosion on them.
I have heard that as well, actually, but I've never owned one, so I don't know.
They're all fantastic. I've had a ZX9, I've had 2 ZX6s, and I've had a ZX10. All fantastic bikes. And you know what? I did 5,500 miles in 5 days around France and Switzerland and on a ZX9. It never missed a beat. Absolutely brilliant bike. And at the end of each day, I was able to get off and not walk around like John Wayne. So it was comfortable as well as quick. But the ZX9 had all technology, so it even had a fuel tap.
Okay.
So there was, you didn't know when you were going to run out of fuel until it started coughing and farting, and then you had to fiddle around and turn a tap onto reserve. And it's a bike that was in the late 90s, you know what I mean? It's So then Yamaha had Thundercat, and I've not owned an R1, but I've borrowed one. I've looked after one of my mates for quite a substantial amount of time. And yeah, the Delta gearbox, I'm just not a big fan of it.
Really?
But it's just me. Some other people will probably go, what the fuck's he talking about? Because they're brilliant. But it's each your own, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, hey, here's a question for you. What do you think of that 2023 M1000RR? You seen it?
Yeah. I try not to look at it too much.
31 grand.
You know what? For other bikes that are on the market, I don't think that's a bad price tag.
31 grand. And then you've got the sort of, package is it? There's another package that you can.
Yeah, it's about another $5,000 on top in it.
Another
For
$5,000, yeah.
All the bodywork and fairing panels are carbon fiber.
Yeah.
But you know,
So,
if
36 grand.
But if you've got the money to look at that, then you've got the money to spend on it. It's one of them bikes, which is why I'm not going to look at it too much.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was 17 and growing pubes, then I might have been looking at bikes like that, dreaming.
Yeah.
But 43-year-old, I'm quite realistic now. I ain't going to ever own one of them unless I get divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I just think, I don't know, what was the cost of the 2022 one? Can you remember?
No, I can't.
No,
but it's up there though, isn't it? With the Honda Fireblade, the SP, that's knocking on door of 30 grand, I think. I'm not too afraid on the price tags because, like I say, I'm never going to own one. So what's the fucking point of me looking?
Yeah.
But then you've got the Superleggera, Ducatis. That's up in the 60-70 grand, isn't it?
No, it's up about 85 or something like that. I think it is.
Or there you go.
85. Yeah, 85 euro. Yeah.
For everything BMW's put on that bike, though, I think it's a fair price tag when you look at its competition in the market sector.
I don't know. It just struck me. It struck me as I was watching. What's his name? Is it Chris 44 Teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching his Man Reads PDF YouTube video about the new M1000RR. And when it got to the price, I just thought, sort of, what? Or maybe,
It is one for you. What do you think's better value? That BMW for 30 grand or one of these shit fucking lightweight parallel twins that are getting knocked out for 10 grand? If you think about the engineering that's gone into that bike compared to a parallel twin that's getting sold for 10 grand, I think the value is actually in the Beamer.
No, I can't argue with that. And of course, as well, when you start looking at something like a Superleggera, 85 grand or whatever it is, or 85,000 euro.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Someone turns around to you and says, right, you can have the pick of either bike. You don't have to pay a penny. On the left, you've got a Superleggera, and on the right, you've got a Desmo. Which would you have?
A Desmo Sedici, do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would have the Desmo Sedici.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know why that took me so long to think about that.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I don't know. I know the technology that's in that Superleggera, but there's just something about to own a Desmo that would be mega.
I think that I think it's if you're buying a Superleggera, you're making a statement for sure, right? But I think the statement is a bigger statement with a Desmo Sedici.
Talking of making a statement on a Superleggera, did you see on social media about the kid that took it on a track day and got spanned?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
whose bike was it?
It was his. So he's bought a Superleggera, gone on a track day, thrown it down the road because he's got tangled up with somebody else. And then he's jumped online and started having a go. People should have come and said sorry and all that kind of stuff. Not be funny, mate. Why are you taking it on a fucking track day?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, this is the other thing as well, is my bike is 10 years old, right? I think to psychoanalyzing myself, I've got no off switch really. And I think if that's the problem, if I was to go on a track, I mean, don't get me wrong, it wouldn't be to the detriment of other riders around me, but guaranteed that bike would be getting sent down the road.
Yeah. But it probably comes across quite cruel as me like laughing then. And I'll be honest, I feel sorry for anybody whose bike goes down the road. I really do, because I know what bikes mean to people. I know what mine mean to mine.
Yeah.
Mine mean to me. But if I bought my dream bike, it would come out on a warm, sunny day.
Yeah.
Probably do 20 miles, come home, and then I polish it for twice as long as I rode it.
Yeah.
And it'd get looked at.
Yeah.
It would be my prized possession.
Yeah.
Any other bike, if I send it down the road, it's a lump of metal. It can be replaced. I love that lump of metal.
Yeah.
But that's what I see it as. It's a tool for me to go out and do what gives me enjoyment.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not going to be spending 85k and firing it down the track.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the figures are on Superleggera. But it's not a massive jump in terms of for all the tech that's on it and for all the exotica that's on it. It's not a massive jump. So it's, Desmond Sudici.
Yeah.
So, what would be your ultimate bike?
Dream bike?
Yeah.
So this is going to surprise you. But I can't, it's the Honda, you know what, I'm going to use my phone here.
Oh, it's the Goldwing. That's what you mean, isn't it?
No.
It is a Goldwing. I'm gonna just dub that in anyway.
I can never remember the initials for the year.
Is it the Honda Cub?
Nope. It's the I think it's the Honda RC 16. So it's the 1968 350 flat six Honda. It's the one that Halewood raced at the TT before he then went. He had his period. He had a period where he didn't race. Went off to Australia, didn't he? And then he came back. 1978. 'Cause it was my year I was born. Halewood came back and won the TT on the Ducati. But yeah, that Honda that Halewood raced, that's my dream bike.
Why?
Have you ever listened to one?
No. I don't even know the bike that you mean, actually. Struggling to think about what it is.
It's the one that's got the silver fairing belly. In fact, remember Guy Martin's classic Honda paint job that he did for the TT on TT 3D on the film?
No.
So it's got the silver belly pan fairing,
right?
Red seat unit, plain black. So it's that classic Honda look. It's when Honda first started coming racing. They first came over to TT, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, what is this?" I'm
gonna have to. I'm not going to look it up just now. I'll look it up afterwards. Yeah.
350 flat six. Oh my god, when that thing starts up, it is like shit the bed.
Do you mean a 350 6-cylinder?
2-stroke.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
A 6-cylinder 2-stroke 350.
Yeah.
Right.
Naughty bit of kit.
Geez, I wonder what the benefit of having 6 cylinders would have been on the 2-stroke, because everything's just
smaller lighter pistons can rev higher.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. In fact, no, it might not have been a 2-stroke actually. I might be chatting shit there. All I know is it sounds sexual. Like, yeah, it's essence. And I do like my old bikes as well. Another bike that I'd love to own, an old Meriden Triumph TR7, because that's the bikes that we used in the white helmets. I won't buy one of the white helmets bikes. One, because they're going for silly money now, and two, because I know what those frames have been through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like a. Excuse me. It was built on the. It was a 750 Triumph Tiger engine in more or less in a Bonnie frame.
Right.
So I don't know.
Was it a triple engine then?
No. It was a parallel twin, 750 parallel twin.
Okay.
So I don't know. One day I might build one.
Hey, so speaking about the Triumphs, right? Do you know what the Thruxton looks like?
Yeah.
Right. Have you seen the new 961 Norton Commando? Norton
I
Commando.
yeah, I've seen pictures of it but I've not paid much attention to it.
It's a bloody.
Um,
It looks. I mean, I was looking at it and thinking that's a Thruxton.
yeah, I should pay attention to it because Jeff Duke was their factory rider, wasn't he? But
Well,
yeah,
God, I think it just looks like a Thruxton, but then I think maybe some of the engineers have gone from Triumph over to Norton. I think quite a few of the people in Norton are now ex Triumph.
yeah, possibly.
So yeah, but it's uncannily like
Mm.
the looks uncannily like the Thruxton.
But the thing is that bikes of those design, there's only so much you can do with them, so they all do pretty much look the same. The old cafe racer style with a rounded seat unit at the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's only so much you can do with a cafe racer, isn't there?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but that's a challenge of the design engineers, you know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, anyway. Um, I would still have one.
yeah. I think
Uh,
realistically speaking, if you were to ask me what I think my next bike will be
yeah.
for the road, I think it'd be a Kawasaki Z900 RS.
Oh yeah, the retro looking one.
Yeah, I think because I think it'll be quick enough to
Yeah,
have fun on a Sunday,
yeah,
but the pegs are going to be lower, so I'm not going to be chucking it into corners like I do a Fireblade.
yeah,
So yeah, it'll be a grin bike, but not a license loser.
yeah,
I think it looks nice as well.
yeah, yeah. I just do you know what I would like I would like as a second bike, I'd like an adventure bike. All right.
Multi
Ah,
or a proper adventure bike.
what do you mean a proper adventure bike?
But the Multistrada is not a proper adventure bike, is it?
What would you class as a
Unless you go for the rally version with the sports wheels.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you're not going off. You're not going off on an off road adventure with cast alloy wheels.
Yeah, no, but you can. But that's the only thing that you could. I mean, that's the only thing that you would need to change on it is just get some spoked wheels, make the wheels a bit more flexible.
Mm.
Um,
I think I'm going to go to Honda again. Shock.
yeah,
But yeah, I think I'd go with the Africa Twin, the CRF 1000. Even John McGuinness has turned around and said these days that's his go-to bike for going out and having fun on.
but I think I mean, I've heard this. I've listened to so many other podcasts, I've heard this said quite often. It's difficult to buy a shit bike these days, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, you could walk into the showroom, any dealer, and just point at something, and it's like pin the tail on the donkey.
Yeah.
You won't be buying a shit bike.
No,
you're still going to enjoy it.
With the technology that's going into these adventure bikes as well, and the rideability of them, to me, I don't find it a shock at all that the arse is falling out of the superbike market. Because
is it? I didn't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, is it really?
You've only got to look at Triumph's range. I mean, Triumph are producing the engines for Moto 2, but they're not mass producing a sports bike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But they've just announced that they're going to be going into MX Motocross Grand Prix from 2024. So they're bringing out a crosser. Yeah. So Triumph have identified that people aren't buying sports bikes. I think the sportiest thing you can get now is the Street Triple R, isn't it? The new one.
Speed
Triple R. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sportiest thing that they do.
Mm.
Everything is going towards adventure bikes.
Well, no, they've still got the Daytona, the 765 Daytona.
I thought they only produced a limited number of them.
Yeah, of course.
So
not mass produced. Yeah, okay.
So now you're into the second-hand market.
Yeah.
I know that they sell a fairing kit and stuff if you wanted to convert a street triple into a
yeah.
So,
Would you?
but
Would you?
if I wanted to go racing a 765, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The majority of manufacturers, though, they're not producing sports bikes anymore. Or the ones that they are, like the Fireblade, they're clinging onto a heritage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that everything's going to go towards either these shitty little parallel twins or big adventure bikes, or your cruiser market.
I saw so many when I was traveling down to the lab at East Midlands, 2-3 weeks ago. I saw so many GSs.
Mm,
It
yeah,
was like it's like 9 out of 10 bikes were bloody GSs.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
That's where the real market growth must be, surely.
Right, you got Obi-Wan Kenobi to blame for that, aren't you? But
Oh yeah,
one of your countrymen with his long
yeah,
way round.
yeah. Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, that's what he always has to drop it in, doesn't he? I was Obi-Wan Kenobi, don't you know?
Yeah, I remember him better from in Train Spotting.
Yeah, yeah.
Brilliant film, that brilliant film. Yeah, I think there's a second bike. I can't see me getting rid of the sports bike. I get on that bike and I just think, it's like a little twist in the right hand on the
Yeah,
throttle there, and it's proportionately all your shit just gets left behind, doesn't it?
yeah.
And I just
But
think, oh,
this blade in this colour scheme, it's one of only 5 in the country, so that will never get sold in that colour. It's an
right.
Australian centenary for the TT. Is that one? It shouldn't have come to the UK market, but
Ah,
apparently the dealership was supposed to order 5 bikes for the Met Police in plain black with ABS.
yeah,
They fucked up the order apparently.
yeah,
So then there was this massive thing with Honda UK, like, right, shit, we need these bikes. There were 5 bikes in that colour scheme that were Australia bound that had ABS. So they swapped the plastics over. So on the logbook, this is a black Honda Fireblade, but it's got the Australian plastics on because of Honda UK's fuck up with the Met Police.
Well, there's a story.
Yeah.
Didn't know the Met Police were kicking around in Fireblades either.
Well, obviously that was 2016, so they'll have ordered it 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't know.
Yeah, well, the more quirky the story, the more reason to keep a hold of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's nice as well with the gold leafing that goes up the side. It's a very, very subtle difference for the anniversary one that was released over here in the UK.
Okay, yeah. No, I haven't seen that model. I haven't seen that bike up close. So, but yeah, I think my second bike. As I say, I'm not ready to give up a sports bike. I still get way too much enjoyment out of a sports bike.
So with your second adventure bike, where would you go on your adventure?
Oh, fucking everywhere. I can't go everywhere.
Where's the number one destination that you want to go, that you want to ride on a bike?
Well, it would be back on the sports bike, and I think I would have to just get it trailered over. But I'd like to go and do some of the roads in Austria, and
Suston Pass and
Stelvio
and all that lot.
Yeah. I'd like to do those, and I'd just like to do them with a couple of my mates, because the riding on the roads, I think, would be epic, but the banter and the crack that I would have with my pals as we're going along and getting beers and
So if you're gonna do that on the Ducati, just don't go into Switzerland, because they're anally retentive when it comes to exhausts.
Exhausts, right?
Yeah. They're shit hot on them. If it growls, you're getting a pull.
Oh well, It growls a wee bit. Yeah, does
Yeah.
growl a wee bit. Tergnomonies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. My
So
mate, my mate had an S1000R decatted with an Akrapovich Coke tin stubby on the
right.
end, right? And this thing was just absolutely obnoxious. Obnoxious. I mean, I think he sold it. He sold it after 3 years because he couldn't be bothered with the pain of putting it all back together again to get an MOT.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way that that thing was going to pass an MOT. Not
Deal.
a chance. Sorry. Yeah. So Switzerland. I thought you were going to say speeding in Switzerland
Right.
because they don't like that either, do they?
No.
Right,
To be honest, though, I don't think they like much if you haven't got a Swiss plate on.
right.
But I don't know.
Make one up.
Yeah.
Or take it off.
But so if you wouldn't go anywhere on an adventure, why would you buy an adventure bike?
No. Sorry, I would. So what I guess I'm restricted to at the moment is having all my trips on my own,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'd like to be able, take the missus or take some of the kids away. And Alice, my eldest daughter, she's I'm pretty sure she'd love to just go away. Or if I could just go down, wherever they end up in university or wherever they end up, scattered all over the place, pop down on the bike or take them down there on the bike. Or, it's just the fact that I would like to, and I know that, anything with rear pegs and a rear seat will do the job.
Yeah.
But I would like to go, if it was an adventure bike, the second bike has got to be
practical.
It's got to be able to do a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to be able to just pop down to the shops, because I can't do that on the Ducati. The thing fucking heats up, it'll overheat, and if you're not ramming air through it constantly. So it's got to be practical. It's got to be able to do lots of things. And I think I'd like to go down and take it down into southern Spain and, Italy, and drive down through there. And, I think there's something, as cliched as it is, something about a GS that I actually quite fancy. And I know they're like bumholes. They're like bumholes, everyone's got one. But just the reliability and the if you're going away on a journey like that, you want something that's proven, that's reliable, and it just does the job. Either that or a Triumph Tiger.
I think if you're going to go on long distance journeys, you've got to look at the dealerships that are going to be available while you're on that journey.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got a bucket list thing I want to do. So I want to do a lap of the Mediterranean, which logistically would be fucking hard and dangerous.
Because obviously, lap of the Med.
Yeah. So
you're not going to do a full lap, are you?
Yeah, you could do.
How?
So you go down through France, Spain.
Yeah.
Get to Gibraltar, Portugal.
Yeah.
Ferry across to Morocco.
Yeah.
Go across Northern Africa. Then get across the Suez Canal up through Syria.
I'm with you.
That way.
I'm with you.
Which is why it'd be freaking dangerous, because you're going through all the shitholes of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. But you used to be in the army.
Yeah. Up telegraph poles.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Me bring big yellow telephone, making short circuits working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Well, that sounds. Do you think that would be doable?
I think it will.
Uh-huh.
It's got there's people do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it just take a lot of planning and a lot of prep.
Shit,
Um,
yeah. Yeah. See, that's why I quite like the idea of just doing a couple of weeks, 2, 3 weeks, southern Spain.
so I'm batshit crazy. If you're going to do something, do it proper.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. I,
So
I get that. I do get that, but that's more of a. I mean, that's a project, isn't it? That's not just
yeah,
a holiday. That's a project.
but there's a diagnosis for it. It's called ADHD.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Fine. Fair enough.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's I don't know. There's all my mates that were in the army where they think I'm batshit crazy for going racing age for the first time, age 42. Um, like
Mhm.
so, my wife just thinks it was a massive midlife crisis until I brought a trophy home, and then she realised it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So,
do. I don't. I mean, I think it's funny how people who generally describe you as having a midlife crisis are the ones that are
miserable
probably
as fuck.
miserable as fuck. Yeah, and
Yeah,
and it's like an excuse for them being miserable fuckers.
yeah,
He's having a midlife crisis. Oh, fucking
yeah,
get over yourself.
yeah. It's
Go and get a
I,
bike and get
yeah,
laid.
I might have kids. I might have chosen to have kids. I might have chosen to get married. But at no point did I sign a piece of paperwork that would say that my life ends at that point.
Yeah.
I've got a fucking lot of living to do, and I intend to do it.
Yeah, it took me 15 years
Yeah,
to wisen up to that, Rich. And
yeah,
15 years of every year every time I heard a motorbike, be like, oh,
yeah.
I need one of them back in my life again. And
Yeah, I think some people probably think I'm a selfish bastard or I'm backwards in the way that I think. But
mm,
I don't want to give my kids everything on a plate, and give them this fucking horse where they can have everything that they want.
mm,
But there's things that I want in this world, and I work damn hard to put a roof over my kids' head and keep them fed and wearing nice clothes and all that kind of stuff. So with what little money I've got left behind, if I can go racing a motorbike, I'll do it because it'll inspire them to work hard. So then they can go and do that kind of stuff when they're old enough to do it.
yeah,
That's the way I look at it.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
it seems to have worked because my wife, who's been working in a care home, has decided that she wants to become a nurse. She's never thought she's capable of doing it, but seeing me going racing and then getting my clubman license and stuff,
mm,
it's kind of given her the boot up the arse and gone, right, well, if Rich can do that, I can go and do my degree in nursing. So she started that. So there
well,
is,
that's a challenge, isn't it?
yeah. I'll tell you what, fair play to her for wanting to go into that because,
Oh,
yeah, it's
yeah,
a
yeah,
thankless job, shit money.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but she,
Only for true heroes, eh?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
fair play to her.
Mm. I think my middle daughter, Ella, I think that she's considering a um further education in nursing. I just think, it's a it, it's like it's when kids that love animals,
Mm,
and they say to you, "Oh, I want to be a vet when I'm older," and
yeah,
all you're seeing is somebody arms deep in the arse of a cow, trying to,
James
you know,
Herriot.
and you think it's just not it's not all fluffy rabbits and
Yeah.
helping dogs with sore paws. It can be real tough, and I think
Yeah,
nursing is the same thing. I think it's this romantic notion of Florence Nightingale and
yeah,
wandering through the wards with a candle
yeah.
and tending to people. It's just not like that.
My,
Um,
my my
Pretty
wife was
brutal.
working. My wife was working in a care home during COVID pandemic, and it actually made the national papers because they lost 18 residents. And I can remember waking up on a morning, seeing my wife sat at the end of the bed crying her eyes out because she'd had a text message saying that another resident had died. Um, and for somebody to want to go into a profession where that continually happens,
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's just completely selfless.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
uh,
Bloody heartbreaking that must have been as well. That's
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, let's lift it up a gear, pal.
Yeah, definitely.
What about? I was thinking about your musical influences over the years. What's on your playlist?
Everything and everything. I tell you
Aye,
what, it,
I'm a bit like that as well.
I,
I've got a
I've
very
got
eclectic taste in music. I
I've
think
got to be careful here because
kids would say it's shit.
my Spotify is a family subscription. So
Yeah.
if the kids have been on freaking half of the crap that they listen to,
Oh
um,
yeah. 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 It's all right, mate. Honestly, we won't be
so
judging. We won't judge much.
so what I tend to do with Spotify is there'll be a song that's in my head that I want to listen to. So I'll click on that song, but then I'll go play radio. So it'll play loads of
Yeah. Yeah.
songs
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
are like that. So what's on here? Come As You Are, Nirvana,
Mm-hmm.
Rain, The Cult. I love The Cult, mega.
Mm.
Um, Eleanor Rigby, Beatles. That's
Fucking
what
hell, mate.
I've got an eclectic taste. Circles, Post Malone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blinding Lights, The Weekend. Da, 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 Robert Miles, Children. Autumn Song, Manic Street Preachers. Talk Tonight, Oasis.
I'm embarrassed about what's on my playlist now.
But I play the guitar. I play the guitar as well. So
yeah.
A lot of the stuff I'll listen to with a mindset of right, I want to learn that and then go on and play it.
Okay. I don't play any musical instruments. I remember that my old man, when I was a kid, God, I must have been, I was so young at the time. He came home with a classical guitar and said, "Ta-da!" Oh, what the fuck's that? It's a guitar, son, and I want you to learn to play it. I'm going, I don't fucking want to learn to play the guitar. Is that my sound or is that your sound that's getting a bit sort of sketchy there?
Move.
So he says, "Oh, I want you to learn to play the guitar," and I'm going, I don't want to play. I've got no interest in this at all, of course. So I got sent to lessons, guitar playing lessons, and for months and months and months. And I was the one guy sat in the one young lad sat in this in these lessons, just hating every second of it. So I think that kind of put me off an interest in musical instruments and playing musical instruments. So
I only learned guitar by accident.
How the fuck do you learn to play guitar by accident? Oops.
That's
it just landed in there.
My brother's 12 years younger than me, and he got taken to a concert by my mum and dad when I think he was about 5 years old. He saw Midge-Ure. Yeah, where it was Midge-Ure was playing the acoustic tent at the. Do you remember the Heineken beer festivals?
Yeah,
in the 90s.
Yeah.
So while I'm at the main stage watching the likes of Skunk and Nancy and that, my parents were in the acoustic tent with my younger brother, who was about 4 at the time, watching Midge-Ure doing an acoustic set. My brother's come back, got on his toy box, built this freaking guitar out of all his pots and pans and drum kits, and he just wanted to do it. So in my first paycheck, I bought him a guitar, and he never put the bloody thing down. So then, fast forward a few years, I'm in the army at this point. I wanted to buy him a proper electric guitar for Christmas. So I knew that in December, I'm a twat with money and I'd probably piss it all up against the wall. So I bought him it in November. And then in November, I pissed up all my money. So at the end of the month, I didn't have enough to go out with all the boys. So I'm sat in my room bored and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to have a go at this guitar. And I played Stiltskin inside. I learnt Stiltskin inside that night. And I was like, I fucking like this. So I went and bought myself a guitar in December. And we're skint for the rest of the month because I just bought a guitar. But yeah, I've played guitar ever since.
All right. Wow.
My brother went on though to play the newcomer stage at Leeds Reading.
Okay. Yeah.
So And then he went on to become a tour manager for where he's worked with Belinda Carlisle and who's the guy that does the program on BBC Two, Jules Holland. There's a big 80s revival that goes on in, I think it's Bali or somewhere out there. My brother took them all out there. Another band called I can't remember the name of the band. They're a band from China, but he was their tour manager until COVID happened. And then now he works for Gear for Music, and he's about to get married, and he's got 2 kids. So fucking his life flipped 180.
Yeah,
he's gone from full rock and roll style lifestyle to 2.4 kids.
Married with 2.4 kids and 1.5 dogs.
Yeah,
so my kids are now at an age where they're starting to get to go to festivals. Well, the two oldest ones are. So I don't know what it used to be called. The one in Glasgow used to be called Tea in the Park. I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called now. But my daughter number 2 was down there in the summertime, and apparently, I like Calvin Harris, and I like some of that stuff, And she says, "Oh yeah, so yeah, Calvin Harris was playing." I've got what? Calvin Harris was playing. Yeah. And then Paolo Nutini will come on the radio, right? And she goes, "Oh, Paolo Nutini was there as well. Saw him." What? For fuck's sake, there's all of these. I never went to festivals or.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to go to concerts.
Yeah.
Used to see. I mean, I saw the Rolling Stones at Wembley. Must have been late 80s, early 90s. Saw Madonna at Wembley. Pink Floyd at Wembley as well.
Yeah,
I've seen
nice.
I've been to some amazing concerts, but then I don't think there's so much of that goes on these days. I think it's just
I think the music industry
festivals, isn't it?
Yeah, the music industry took a right hammering, and with the cost that with the funds that it takes for a band to go on tour, it stands to reason that why would you pay all that money to go on a tour of a country when instead you can tour all the festivals? And that's what they tend to do. I think the big bands, they'll book so that is their tour, unless of course they're promoting an album, and then you want people to hear new material. So we went. Me and my wife went to watch Stereophonics in Birmingham a couple of months ago now. It's about the 3rd time I've seen them. I think they're brilliant. I love the Phonics. Then who else we've been to see recently? Embrace. So one of the first dates me and my wife ever went on over 18 years ago now was Embrace at Alexandra Palace. And then we saw that they were playing in Birmingham, so we got tickets for it. But then, got off the train, walking through Birmingham, and came up on phone that the Queen had died. So it put a proper pisser on the evening. But it was still a good do, like. And then I've just booked tickets to take my son to see Muse next year.
Oh, I'd love to go see Muse. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, there's probably I'd love to go to one of these festivals, but I would stand out. It's just all kids there now, isn't it? Or is it? I don't know.
I don't. It's that long since I've been to a festival.
I've never been to a festival.
Festivals always do my head in though, because there's always a band playing on one stage while another band's playing on another that I want to see.
Okay.
And I'm like, fuck's sake. Or me and the missus will end up arguing because I want to go to one stage and she wants to go to other.
Right.
So I would like to go to Download though.
At Donington.
Yeah.
Well, maybe next time it's on, then we can
pair of old bastards at the back.
Pair of old bastards at the back there.
To be fair, Iron Maiden headline this year though, didn't they? Fuck, it don't get much older than that.
Get your Peaky Blinders cap on and your and your pipe, and we'll go to download.
Yeah.
Yeah, just round the
No.
corner from the lab anyway, so why not?
Yeah, fair one.
Yeah.
But it's only an hour up road for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, first festival for me in my 55 years will be Download in 2023. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a date, Rich.
With a track day 2 days later.
Aye, yeah, absolutely, yeah. On somebody else's bike.
Well, I hear small boy track bikes is a good company.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's loads.
Yeah. That's the thing. I would have to do it on. I mean, well, for a start, my bike's not track prepped anyway, so
yeah. But I think Weston. I think it's going to kill the CRF. So I think one of the things that I might do over winter is turn that into a supermoto. Because I think that'd be funny on a track day, taking a supermoto on a track day.
Is that just the case of just sticking different wheels on
it? You could get away with doing that.
Uh-huh.
I'd want to put a slipper clutch in it as well, though.
Okay.
And probably a quick shifter.
Right. Okay. But
probably a quick action throttle as well. Yeah, there'd be about £2,000 of work it'd need doing to it for it to be half decent.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, essentially it's the same bike.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's just, you're
same bike, different gearing, different clutch. And then, yeah.
What, you 600 quid for a slipper clutch?
About £1,000.
Okay. All right.
But for a Sigma slipper clutch for one of them, you're looking at best part of £1,000, I think.
Go tell me what, I mean, I know what slipper clutch does, but what's the benefit when you're on the track?
So with the CRF, if I'm coming into corners, if I just dump the clutch as I'm changing,
but you've got you've got a blipper though, haven't you?
No, not on a motocross bike.
No. Sorry. Okay, so sorry, I'm now thinking slipper clutch on a race bike on the track.
Yeah. But on the CRF, because it's a 450 single, the compression of it. If I change down the box too quickly, the back end locks up, but the bike stalls it because the engine loses its inertia.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you'll see motocross racers doing is that they'll feather the clutch to keep it on like a half bike type thing. And all the gear changing's done before they get to the corner and then on the egg. Whereas with a slipper clutch allows you to ride it like it's a road bike.
Yeah.
So I can bang down the box, use the inertia that's built into the clutch to help me with engine braking, and then power through the corner. Or at least that's the theory. I might be completely wrong, in which case I'll waste £1,000. But
why don't you try it without slipper clutch first?
Because it'd be a really shit day if I'm right.
Well, it's only one day.
Yeah.
Or £1,000. £1,000. Sorry, £1,000. £1,000. Yeah.
But I've spoken to some lads that race supermoto, and they've said, look, if you can stick a slipper clutch in it because it makes the world of difference. Because as well, the motocross back wheel as well hasn't got a cush drive in it. It's direct race sprocket direct onto that rear wheel. There's no cush drive to take any of the inertia.
Right.
So yeah, I think. Well, we'll see. Just play about with it. I might completely spanner it at Weston and end up having to sell it for bits.
I think that's probably given your track record. No pun intended.
Nice.
You like what I did there? No, good luck with that, Rich. I think that'll be brilliant. What are the dates again? 23rd, 21st, 23rd of October?
21st and 23rd of October.
Yeah.
So it's at Weston Supermare.
Yeah, Weston Supermare. Yeah.
So the events, it's all over Facebook and all the social media channels. Yeah, I think tickets are on 50% discount up until about next Wednesday, I think. And then
Okay.
yeah, so at the moment for a full weekend adult ticket it's 45 pound, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But then yeah, it's close to the event, they're putting the price is double.
And what other stuff's going on during the, what can people expect when they go there?
So Dougie Lampkin's doing trials displays. They've got freestyle motocrossers doing all their stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's loads of trade stalls. There's I think fairground type attractions for families with kids and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the actual race itself. So I'm pretty sure Billy Bolt's racing this year. Who else? There's a couple of other big names from World of Motocross and Enduro that have entered as well this year. So yeah, while there'll be fat middle-aged knackers like me wobbling around at the back, there'll be some top boys there spinning the laps.
You might get squeezed in the middle, and just carried along for a fair bit,
I don't think so. I think by the time Billy Bolt comes to lap me, I'm going to be parked up at the side, choking on a fag, wondering what the fuck I ever thought.
Well, good luck with that, Rich. Really, I'm really wishing you well with that. And yeah, so as you said earlier, send me those links. I'll pop them into the description on if it's either on the video or the podcast description as well, so people can follow those links through and perhaps support you with this cause as well. So great. I think we're going to wrap it up here. That's been a pleasure. I always enjoy getting the crack with you, Rich. Let's meet up in person. Next time I've got this lovely 9-hour drive down to East Midlands. Let's see if you're near Donington and we can try and catch up for a beer and face to face. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Where are you going to be at Motorcycle Live this year? Are you coming down for it?
I don't know. Even just to attend for me,
it's not exactly just down the road, is it?
No. I know when I went last year, I felt a bit underwhelmed actually.
I was pretty.
That was my first time.
First one back after COVID. I'd like to think it'll be bigger this year. But I don't know.
I might pop down for a day because I can get a flight from Aberdeen to Birmingham. It's one of the few places I can get a flight to these days.
Yeah.
So there's direct flights from Aberdeen to Birmingham. Might pop down for a day or a day and an overnighter, and if that happens, I'll liaise with you and see if we can get some dates sorted out.
I'll be there. Last year I had a spare. My spare helmet was a white Aroa helmet, and I took it to Motorcycle Live last year, and with the help of the charity, we got pretty much everybody from the BSB paddock, former winners of the Dakar, all manner of people signed this lid, and that's getting auctioned off this year, along with some other things that I know Paul's got up his sleeve.
Brilliant.
Bennett's
were you there for the 3 days last year then?
No, I only went down for the one day last year.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, this year I'm going to be there for the 3 days if I can get the time off work.
Yeah.
Because all the money that will raise will go into the same pot as the Life's a Beach challenge as well.
Okay.
So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to go a lot further than just training these 20 marshals, because what people don't realize, and I know you want to wrap up, but what people don't realize is that the mental health that racers when they're injured. So earlier on this year, obviously there was the accident at Brands Hatch, and like the young lads had all season out of racing. So he's going to be worried about, well, are my sponsor's going to stick by me?
Yeah.
Is this the end of the road? Am I going to get signed off by neurology to be able to go and get a race license again? And all those anxieties are going to build up. So I want to put provision in place in the paddock for not just the marshals, but the races as well. Anybody that needs it, to be honest. And one place it is needed is road racing. It's definitely needed there, because when it goes wrong road racing, it goes fucking spectacularly wrong.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately we saw that this year.
Yeah.
But we're a stubborn breed, us racers, and we don't like talking about mental health. We like putting that helmet on, closing the visor, and going, "We'll be right."
I don't think anybody really goes out their way to talk about mental health.
No.
I suffer from anxiety and depression, and have done since I was 21.
Yeah,
at least that's as far back as I can remember. Thankfully, I managed to get. I got help. I went to my GP and just so happens I was having a really shit day, and the GP got both barrels, and saw how this all of this was manifesting itself. So I didn't really have to do an awful lot of explaining I didn't have to explain myself an awful lot, and I got put on medication, and I don't ever think I'll come off of that, to be honest. But it works for me,
Yeah. I try not to think it. It's very easy to put a negative connotation to mental health when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
But if we were going to talk about somebody straining the bicep or pulling the shoulder joint, nobody'd feel like it's a morbid conversation. It's just one of those fucking things that happens.
I know.
But the brain's exactly the same.
It's a chemical. It's just a chemical imbalance, right? And anybody who says to you, "Oh, for fuck's sake, just pull yourself together, mate," it just doesn't understand that this is a chemical imbalance.
In the world of sport, though, you cannot be at your optimum performance level if you have got these injuries, because that's what they are. They're mental injuries.
Yeah.
If you haven't dealt with them. And it's the same with you at work or any. You cannot operate or function at your best peak performance. You can't meet your potential unless you've dealt with those mental health issues.
Did you hear
or injuries?
Did you listen to God rest his soul, Chrissy and Dom's podcast, Chasing the Racing, had Christian Id on. I can't remember which episode it was, but Christian was speaking about the challenges that he had last year. And I was listening to that podcast as I was driving down, as I was on the road, and I really felt for the guy. I thought, there's a lot of what he was saying. He was entirely on his own. He couldn't explain any of this, what was going on, to anybody.
But
that describes it, doesn't it?
Nobody will understand a racer's mentality unless they've raced, or unless they've got an appreciation for it. I've had people trying to ask me, what is it about racing that, and I can't put it into the words that they can comprehend, because I don't know.
And then you look at the anxiety and the pressure, or possibly the anxiety that's created from the pressure of getting a ride the next year, getting that all sorted out before your season's over. Are you going to continue with the same team? Are you going to get your contract renewed with the same team? My sponsor's going to stick by with me. Do I have to go out and look for more sponsors? And if you're one of the lads that's competing down at some of the entry level classes, you're going to have to do all of that yourself. In fact, even if you're CSB, you might be doing it all yourself as well.
Even at club level,
Yeah.
Racing at club level, it is still the hours that you put in is a full-time job.
Yeah.
Especially if you get sponsors come on board and then you're having to do the media stuff. And I reckon I wrote to 100 companies to probably get 5 favorable responses back. But then I had freight options come on board. And with the money that they put in one incident, that entire budget was gone. Just in one off. And it was no fault of my own. It wasn't anything that I did. I wasn't overriding.
Yeah.
It was just one of those. It's motorsport. Accidents do happen. But yeah, even at club level, it is freaking graft. So for anyone that's watching this, if they're a fan of motorsport, there's BSB. It's fantastic. It's an absolute spectacle. But support your. My plea would be support your local grassroots club. I don't know if you know, but Thundersport GB, they've been around for years. At one point, they were the one tier down from British Superbikes. They were the feeder. They've turned around and said that they're wrapping. This is their last season of trading.
Really?
Yeah, they're ceasing trading because the grids are shrinking, and the clubs aren't wanting to put the extra cost onto the races because they know how expensive it is already. But they're just not getting the footfall through to the circuits.
Yeah.
Race of the year's happening. Race of the year's happening at Mallory Park next weekend. I think it's 18 quid for an adult ticket. Kids go free, and £1 of every ticket that's sold is going to the Gino Rear Fund. But I guarantee I raced there all year last year, and I reckon there were 200 people there tops. You've got half of the BSB paddock racing there. It's top-notch racing.
Yeah.
And the thing at Mallory as well is you can stand on that bank and you can see 2/3 at circuit.
Yeah.
But grassroots definitely does need more backing. But
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
All right, no, pal. You're bang on. It's been a pleasure having you on, Rich.
Yeah, man, it's been ace.
Let's catch up the next time. Next time I'm down at East Mids, and good luck with Life's a Beach.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. I'll see if that stays in one piece.
Okay, pal.
Catch you later, dude.
Take care.
Ta-da. Thanks
Adios.
a lot. Bye.
Adios.